The interesting thing is going on in Washington right now is over Obamacare, and I saw Michelle Bachmann and others, and our own Congressman Steve King, talking about $106 billion that was
automatic.
That designed to implement this whole process. They anticipated, you guys, pulling the financial plug. They anticipated losing the election.
Yeah.
They anticipated everything that's going on, and they planned for it, and they dropped this little nugget into the Obamacare that would fund it for the next 6 years, and they put it out of reach, almost out of the parliamentary reach of Congress.
It does, but it doesn't. I mean, I think Steve's argument, and I've talked to Steve at length about this because I'm trying to understand how he's really done yeoman's work on this. It is an appropriation, but it's a mandatory appropriation, which sort of doesn't make sense. The appropriation is supposed to be annually done. But they put it in a mandatory category. I think Steve is right that that Congress has the ability, even with this CR, this continuing resolution, to reach in there and stop it. The problem is, we won the election in the House, but we didn't in the Senate, and the president's still the president. And so it comes down to how much the House Republicans are willing to dig in their heels and say, I want to fight about something, and willing to go to the wall on it. And I believe Obamacare, and Steve and I are of one mind on this, is
people
the place,
like Michelle and Steve, they want to fight.
They want to fight, and they want to fight on this ground right here.
But you've got the old guard,
They're
and
not,
the Boehner wing is they're still interested in finding a middle ground somewhere.
Well, look, everybody learns lessons from history, and the lessons that John Boehner, and he was there in 1995 with Newt Gingrich and shutting down the government, is that we shut down the government, the Republicans lose. And I think that's the wrong message. What was going on in 1995 is not what was going on today in America. There was no Wisconsin in 1995. There was no Ohio or New Jersey or Indiana. A lot of those states where you're seeing the American public and people in those states engaged because they realize how serious the economic situation is, how serious the debt that is burdening this country, and how we have to do something about it. And we can't just continue to throw money at problems and really not care about whether it's working or not, or what the cost and consequences to future generations are. So I think we're in a different environment, and I'm hopeful that Steve and Michelle and the folks who are out there, the freshman members, will dig in their heels, say to the Republican leadership, we're willing to fight, we're willing to play brinksmanship on this, because it's important for the future of our country to have this debate. The sooner we have the debate on implementation of Obamacare, the sooner we have this debate on what this bill is doing to this country, will do to the future of our country, the better. And if we stay on it for a year, that's a good thing for us.
Let's talk to as many people as we can, beginning with Mark. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Jan.
Hi.
Senator, or Mr. Santorum, excuse me. A few minutes ago, you were talking about there being a lot more room for people here in the United States. I'm curious as to how you feel about the 14th Amendment and the anchor baby issue, and your views on the illegal immigration.
Well, I'm against illegal immigration. I'm the son of a legal immigrant to this country. My father came to this country back in the 1930s when his grandfather brought him over, and I believe, as I said before, that we need to grow this country two ways. Number one is to bring people who want to be Americans, who want to participate in the American dream, who want to learn the English language, who want to be part of our society, who want to be part of the melting pot, not a salad where everybody sort of keeps their own identity and their own place and their own culture. We need to continue the American experience. People need to buy into the American vision and dream, and that's why I've made the argument in the past that if we set aside the moral issues, then we set aside what America is all about. America is a moral enterprise. It's an ideal of what our society should be. And so we need to attract immigrants. We already do, but we need to bring immigrants into this country who will add to that. As far as illegal immigrants, look, if you're here illegally, you broke the law, and you shouldn't be able to stay here. And we should have border control to make sure that more people don't come across. And I've said it. I said it when I was in Congress. I ran very strongly on the issue of securing the borders as the first priority, and then having a system in place where we welcome people into this country in the future who want to come here, live here, and stay here. But folks who are here illegally, need to go back through and come through that process.
The 14th Amendment question was about the birthright citizenship on the basis of the under the jurisdiction thereof in the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment. Senator Harkin wrote a letter to his constituency last week saying that the Constitution automatically grants citizenship to anybody born here, and he quotes the 14th Amendment and conveniently left off. He erased under the jurisdiction thereof from his quotation of the 14th Amendment.
Right.
One extraordinarily cynical and dishonest thing to do.
Yeah, I don't think there's a constitutional right for birthright citizenship, but that is how it has evolved over time is something that can be changed, in my opinion. My concern with dealing with that issue now is I think it's dealing with a symptom rather than the disease. And the disease is that we have porous borders. We have not dealt with this immigration issue honestly, and to sort of go after a narrow issue that is brought about only because we haven't been able to solve a broader issue, I think is just ill-timed. If I'm perfectly willing, once we get the basic immigration issue solved, if people still have concern about that, once we've solved the issue of people coming to this country and doing the things that they've done by not allowing that to happen, for people to come here illegally in the first place, I think the other issue sort of goes away, and I'm hopeful that we take the big issue first, then focus on the smaller issue afterwards.
This is John. Good morning, John.
Hi.
Hi there.
Senator, don't take this personally, okay? But I would say this to anybody that came in or running for office. Every time somebody comes in here and talks about a program, they're going to do this. And in your example, you said you're going to revitalize rural America.
I said we need to revitalize rural America. Yeah.
My grandfather took all day to farm what my brother does in a matter of minutes. We cannot continually think we can throw somebody else's money at in order to fix a problem out there. It's just the normal market forces.
Well, I would agree with you that normal market forces have changed the landscape of America, but at the same time, I think that there's real value to developing the resources that are out there in rural America. Whether it's, as my history is, which is in mining, that's what my grandfather did until he was 72 years old, or whether it's in oil and gas exploration, or whether it's in creating fuels on the farm, or creating forage and feed on the and food on the farm. Those are important aspects of our economy, and we have to make sure that we have an environment that allows those to be prosperous. And in a lot of cases, in the case of corn, it's creating a market for corn. I mean, we've had a cheap food policy in this country, and that has not allowed for a market to exist. And I think in what you're seeing here in the corn with corn is that you're seeing a market. You're seeing for the first time you don't have the government in there subsidizing farmers for growing this or growing that, and that's because there's a market for this commodity that's out there, and I think that's a good thing.
All right, let's talk to. Thank you very much, John. Appreciate it. This is BJ. Good morning.
Good morning, Jan. Good morning, Senator Santorum. How are you?
I'm doing great, BJ. How are you?
Good. Hey, I'm very, very concerned about the fact that the United States of America is the grocery store for the world. We produce, like you just said to the last caller, I come from a family of farmers. We produce food for Americans. But we also, yesterday on the Big Show, I heard we export 6 out of every 10 rows of soybeans. Something's wrong when we're feeding the people in the Middle East that are not increasing their production of oil. So for me just to go down and buy the box of cornflakes that my family raises on our farm costs me that much more just to drive and get it, when the people in the Middle East, the Turks, in the African nations that produce oil, why are we being such great humanitarians to them when they refuse to increase production, release the oil? This is ridiculous.
Well, I don't understand why you're saying we be humanitarians. We're selling our product.
We are, but for every bushel of corn or beans that we sell to them, we should be getting something fair in exchange.
Well,
I'm
not too. Why are you? Hold on, 1 second. Why are we not getting a fair exchange? I mean, the price of oil is a market price. I mean, it's affected by many things, but we get a market price for oil, and just like you get a market price for beans.
And the market price for soybeans
has gone up substantially.
Corn is the highest
right.
in a record.
And I'm sure they're complaining about that too.
Their response, however, they are buying our product with devaluing currency. that we
that's the reason, one of the reasons
into existence.
Right. One of the reasons you're seeing the price of oil and price of beans and everything else go up is because
They're
the value of the dollar is going down.
Yeah, they're adjusting to
which I'm sure they're complaining about that too.
QE2 and QE3.
Right.
And 4 and 5 and 6.
Well, who knows? Certainly under this administration, which has given a green light to the Fed to do that, you're going to see that. I believe in a strong dollar, and I believe that with a new administration that's going to have a little different point of view than this administration as to how we're going to solve our deficit problem. This administration clearly is on a path to solve the deficit problem through inflation.
We are just about out of time,
yes.
Senator Santorum. What do you want us to know more than anything else? And this time you have time to hype your website. I heard you complaining about that yesterday.
I didn't complain.
I heard you whining about it.
I didn't
have time to even hype my own website.
I didn't say that at all. I said that when my wife, bless her heart, Karen, she always says, Rick, make sure you mention your website. And I gave my speech last night, and I didn't. And so I felt.
So you're being henpecked again.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you don't listen to what your wife, advice? Is that what you're saying?
Over and over.
Well, so does that make you henpecked?
Yes.
No, it doesn't. My wife is my partner in crime here. I mean, of course I listen to her. She has a lot of wisdom to impart on me. Okay. I think the point I was trying to make last night, I would say. There was an article over the weekend on the Wall Street Journal, if you saw, about Paul Johnson, the great historian, who was talking about the United States and how hopeful he was for the future of our country.
Right.
And he said that the key for the next leader of this country is someone with courage, someone who has the ability to go out and not just take on the issues, but all of the virtues of people in leadership are muted if they don't have the courage of their convictions. And I think one thing I can show that in the course of my political career, I've had the courage to go out and do what I think is the right thing to do, irrespective of the political consequences. And I think those are the kinds of qualities that you want to look for when you're deciding whether you're going to elect, who you're going to elect as the next leader of the country.
Senator, thank you for your time. And you still forgot to mention your website.
ricksantorum.com.
Code Green.
Today's estimated Mega Millions jackpot is 100.